Hey kids, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? But you're doing something, and the plants are thanking you.
What?
See, you guys are breathing out carbon dioxide, and the plants, they're just waiting for you to breathe out so they can gobble it up and turn it into oh so sweet oxygen for us to breathe. It's called photosynthesis.
Nill Bye the Science Guy.
So all living things on Earth need something to live off. But what do plants live off of? Photosynthesis. Now I know it sounds like a big word, but it's actually pretty simple. You divide it into two parts. The first part is photo, the Greek word for light. The second part is synthesis, the Greek word for making stuff. So photosynthesis is how plants eat. They can make their food anywhere as long as they have three things. Got the right number of fingers this time. They need carbon dioxide, water, and light. Because light is actually energy. Electromagnetic energy to be exact. When that energy gets to a green plant, all sorts of reactions can take place to store energy in the form of sugar molecules. Here's what the overall chemical reaction involved in photosynthesis looks like. The process of photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplasts, specifically using chlorophyll, which is the green pigment that stains your clothes. But why is it green? You see, the sun emits the light, and within the light, you've got the electromagnetic spectrum, which has all these pretty colors. A good acronym to remember the colors in the electromagnetic spectrum is Roy G. Biv. I'd tell you more about him, but he's got a restraining order against me. So anyways, all these colors, they just come rushing right down into the plant leaves and other plant parts. But the green is rejected. The green is thrown away. It is not absorbed by the plant and the chloroplasts and the chlorophyll. It instead is reflected and it gets in our eye, and that's why we see it, because it's in our eye.
I got it! Photosynthesis occurs in the chlorophyll, the mesophyll of the plant. Plants need water, carbon dioxide, and light in order to photosynthesize. You see, water is absorbed through the roots of the plant by active transport of minerals, water by osmosis, and traveling up the xylem. Carbon dioxide enters the cell through the stomata of the plant. Stomata are pores on the underlayer of the leaf. They're used for gas exchange in plants. Carbon dioxide comes in, oxygen and water vapors exit. One guard cell is located on either side of the stomata, and they are responsible for the opening and closing of the gate. And finally, light comes from the rays of the sun through particles called photons.
When plants make food, they release oxygen that we breathe as a byproduct. It's photosynthesis, and you can see it by using this leaf from a cabbage. Just put the piece of cabbage into a jar filled with water. Then turn the jar into a bowl. Then fill the bowl with water. Then put the jar in a place where it will get a lot of sun. Then wait about 24 hours. See those little bubbles? That's oxygen that the leaf is making by exchanging carbon dioxide and water for food. Now, isn't that pretty neat?
So the first part of photosynthesis is called the light-dependent reaction. That's where sunlight excites the electrons in the chlorophyll, and then water is broken down by enzymes in sunlight to leave hydrogen and oxygen. The excited electrons then travel down the electron transport chain, or ETC. The proton pump brings protons into the thylakoid space, which is not the final frontier. Protons flow out through ATP synthase, and ADP receives energy to become ATP. Other excited electrons are picked up by the electron carrier, and NADP+ is reduced to NADPH. Now the second part of photosynthesis is the dark reaction, also known as the Calvin cycle, or the light-independent reaction, because none of the steps require light directly. Now this part takes place in the stroma of the chloroplast. Sugar is assembled using carbon dioxide and energy-rich products from the light reaction. The Calvin cycle occurs during the daylight when the light reactions power the cycle's sugar assembly line by supplying it with the NADPH and ATP.
Whoa! Did you know that overall the process of photosynthesis has been known since the 1800s? Scientists theorize that photosynthesis splits carbon dioxide, releasing oxygen, and then adds water to the carbon dioxide to produce sugar. In the 1950s, scientists used O18, which is an isotope of oxygen, to track the fate of oxygen during photosynthesis. The results from that experiment show that the oxygen release during photosynthesis comes from water, not from carbon dioxide. In the 1940s, Melvin Calvin used radioactive carbon-14 to trace intermediates formed in the cyclic pathway that produces sugar from carbon dioxide. He worked on this cycle for 10 years. That's why it's called the Calvin cycle. And now, a special appearance from MC Chloroplast.
MC Chloroplast in this building. I'm about to drop the cold hard truth about photosynthesis. Drop the beat for me. Yo, plants doing that, plants doing this, plants doing photosynthesis. Plants are making sweet fresh food using sunlight, water, and CO2. You can't share a meal, but photosynthesizes zeal. Pigment greens used to make sweet plant cuisine. Return O2 to breathe. Better hope those plants don't leave. This was MC Chloroplast. And I'm out.
So, children, now it's time to go, but before we leave, I'll leave you with this question. If chlorophyll reflects the color green, then why are flower petals different colors? Well, thanks for watching. Make sure you thank some plants today because they gave you a breath of fresh air.
Bill Nye the Science Guy.